1, 2, come, let's go. I said, 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 1, 2, come, let's go.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back. We got a little different flavor going today. You know what I'm saying? That's just how we want to do. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, today we're gonna talk about a subject that we all go through, but many people don't recognize it as they're going through it, nor do they understand it. But it's a necessary, I want to say evil, but it's necessary in order for you to live life. So today what we're going to talk about is what you call a transition. We're going to talk about transitions. Transitions. So we're going to talk about transitions. What is a transition? I'm going to just basically read it straight out the dictionary. It's the process or a period of changing from one state or condition to another. So basically, I want to break that down. It says a transition is a process. So let's stop right there. First of all, what is a process? A process could be a lot of things. When you bake a cake, the first part of that process is finding out what ingredients do you need to put together and what else needs to transpire or take place in order for these ingredients, these individual ingredients, to come together to transition into a cake. Now, when we talk about a process, when we talk about a process, many things happen. Like in a pregnancy, you got a gestation period. You got conception. You have the time when a man and a woman don't even know each other. They meet. He holler at her or she holler at him. Well, talk to if you don't know what holler mean. And they get to know each other. They also communicate back and forth. He call her, she call him. He texts her, she texts him. He invite her out to dinner, she go. She asks him to go to the movies, he accompanies her. He asks her to come to her job, Christmas party, he goes. So their situation becomes a process. So their meeting together can be happenstance, which basically means it could have just happened out of the blue. He was at this place, he was at the grocery store in aisle 6, and she just happened to be there looking for some ketchup. Now, what happens in this process is they're building a bond. I don't want to necessarily call it a relationship per se, but what they're doing is they're building a bond. It doesn't necessarily have to be a lifelong bond, but they're building a situation or they're transitioning from not knowing each other in aisle 6 to a bond to where they're familiar with each other. Now, once they're familiar with each other, they actually take the time out of their life to spend or give it to the other person. Now, that's part of the process to get to know another person. Throughout this process, you know, they drink, they have fun, they might smoke, whatever they do, but they eventually have sex. When they have sex, what takes place? And even before that, when they touch or even kiss or even share something to drink, they're exchanging DNA. That's part of the process, believe it or not. Now, once they actually start getting intimate, like he starts to touch her in a certain way, and she knows what his touch feels like when he's not even around, that process has went through another gestation period of their quote-unquote relationship, okay? Or friendship or whatever you call it. Now, what happens is when they finally have sex, let's say the first time they have sex, they use a condom. Yeah, that was a bonding, and if both of them actually climaxed and once they actually have intercourse and they have sex, basically that's a process. That's a part of a process of bonding in their relationship. Now, if he uses a condom, yes, there is a barrier between the two DNAs. So as they're having sex, they will feel they will feel the emotions being exchanged through the physical contact, the kissing, the hugging, the sharing saliva, the looks, all of that. They're sharing energy. Their chakras, energies are intertwining. But they haven't had like intercourse. Now, let's hypothetically say they do that for a while. Their bond is building, but then they actually have sex without a condom. That's a totally different transition. That's a totally different part of the process. Because what that does is that takes their relationship to a whole nother level. Because the way the universe have things set up, once his penis is injected into her vagina and they exchange those bodily fluids, technically when they kiss and other things, they're connected forever because they're DNA exchange. But when they actually have a sex act without a condom, I'm going to go a little deep. They're actually sharing each other's experience through a physical level, a molecular level. Their DNA, their molecules are interchanging, especially if he ejaculates inside of her. And technically, when he goes inside of her and her vaginal fluids get on his penis and inside of his urethra and things of that nature, which is the hole of the penis, the little vein or whatever. But once that fluid exchange, they're technically connected. Now, why am I explaining this? Why am I going through this? Because regardless of how you feel about that person, I don't want to say in the spirit realm, but outside of just what we can see, the physical realm, these two people are connected, whether he like it, whether she like it or not. I'm going to give you an example. Go out today, go to the grocery store and live your normal life. As you pass people throughout the day that you don't know, you might look at them, see what they got on, but you really don't care too much about them, so you don't focus on them. But let you run into an ex or somebody that you have had sex with. You instantly feel an energy. It's But basically, when you pass that person, you're going to say, if you have feelings for that person a little bit and she played you, you're going to be like, that's her. So you either going to feel negative, or if it's somebody you really want to talk to again or have an experience with again, you're going to be like, I need to go holler at her. I need to, you know what I mean? Or if it's just somebody y'all both had a situation, casual sex, fun, whatever. It's what's up? What's going on? You okay? All right. At the end of the day, it's a process. So, now, that being said, transition is a process. Now, the next part of the definition, or a period of changing from one condition to another. Now, there comes a time in a relationship, or there comes a time when we're talking about baking that cake, where the process happens, where a metamorphosis happens, which means a physical change happens. Physically. Now, we all talk about mentally and spiritually. At the end of the day, it's still part of your physical. So, when we talk about transition in a relationship, you go from being somebody you just met, to somebody you talking to somebody you dating, to somebody you know, to somebody you like, to somebody you love, to somebody you're in love with, to somebody you would die for. So you transitioning from a stranger to a husband, or a stranger to a wife. Now, it's important in life to recognize when these transitions are happening. A lot of the reasons relationships fail is because people are going through transitions in life. And I'm going to quote your Bible. I'm going to quote the Bible. Be not unequally yoked. A lot of people say that scripture. A lot of people know what it means. But do they really? What is a yoke? Let's look that up. Let's look up what a yoke is. What is a yoke? In this definition, it says it's a noun, which means it's a person, place, or thing. It's a wooden cross piece that is fastened over the necks of two animals and attached to the plow or cart that they, not it, not one, they are to pull. So when we're talking about a yoke with two people, we're talking about two people being connected in unison, moving together for a purpose. The same purpose. When you're unequally yoked, that means one person is pulling this way and the other person is pulling this way. How are you moving forward together and you pulling two different ways? It's not going to work. It's a struggle. That's why it's important to not be unequally yoked, because you're both are going in two different directions. One person is going this way. One person is going this way. That's like me wanting to move to California and my queen want to move to Florida. They both got nice weather. They both got oceans. The people are different. The culture is different. One is more laid back. The other is more, razzy-dazzy, like Hollywood and all this crap. But it's unequally yoked. So that alone, we will have differences. I might want to see the sun setting in the west every night, like, ooh, that's beautiful, on the Pacific Ocean. But she might want to see the sun rising on the east in the Atlantic. You see what I'm saying? So being unequally yoked can cause a rift. Well, I can't be with you because I don't want to live in Florida. I can't be with you because you want to live in California. That little thing right there alone, it could cause us not to be together. Literally. Now, when we talk about finances, one person is a saver and one person is a spender. Unequally yoked. One person want to save the money for the future so they have what they need, car breakdown, they want to buy a house, they want to buy some businesses, property. While the other person want to just splurge it on the latest jeans or, on some jewelry, or just flat out waste the money. That's unequally yoked. Even when it comes to parenting, one person don't want to spank their kids, which is legal in my state, and one person wants to just use verbal chastisement. It's not going to work. You have to be on the same page. If you're in a relationship, you have to be equally yoked so you can move in unison, so you can move together. Now, that being said, when you meet, you're two different people. But that's when transition happens. As you're building your relationships together, the differences that you have and the differences that they have, you compromise and come together in unison to become equally yoked together. Henceforth, you get married, you put on a ring, you light a eulogy candle. If you don't know what a eulogy candle is, it's part of a marriage ceremony, ritual, whatever you want to call it. It's basically when the husband and wife come together, they hold a candle. They're two separate people. They come together and light a candle together, signifying that they are now one. Look it up. Eulogy candle. Look it up. Now, in that ritual or that act, that you perform is basically spiritually signifying that you are now one. When you say your vows in marriage, or you don't even necessarily have to get quote unquote married in the sense of the way they do in America, because marriage was here before America was here. I'm just letting you know that. So it's different ways to get married, different ceremonies, different rituals, or different legal ways to come together in unison. In some states in the United States, you got common law marriage. If you've been living together for 4 years, you're married. So that being said, you become equally yoked and you thrive. Most relationships end because two people are going into two different directions. That's why transition is very, very, very important. That's why a lot of relationships end because of transition. Now, let's get into how a relationship transitions into something good and transitions into something bad. Now, what happens is once these two people come together in unison, shared a lot of the old ideologies of what they want to do as far as their love life, become equally yoked together and put forth a vision on what they want for their relationship, things will start going well. They both move in together. They both share the same washer and dryer, share the same soap. They both have the same ideologies about cleaning the house, grocery shopping, things of that nature. Everything is going great. Old girl happy, homeboy cool. But one day, at both jobs, a new girl come in that's fine. The big mistake is he look and give her some of his energy. Here we go with transition. What happens is, as he becomes unfocused on his relationship at home, he starts to take his energy from his girl, his interest, to somebody new. He starts to transition from giving his girl all of that energy to giving this new girl some rhythm. Now let's happen to say the new girl on the scale of 1 to 10 is a 10. And she's giving him some rhythm. She starts to holler back. And casually they go do lunch. Oh, ain't that how his current relationship started? Well, they just said work, so they're having a friendly lunch. Then he start bringing her coffee to work. Then he bringing his lunch to work that his girl made him to bring the lunch. He's eating his lunch, and he happens to give her something. She says, this tastes good. He said, yeah, I made this. So now he lying. And she says, oh, you a good cook. You're going to have to bring me some more of that. So now this Negro, or whatever, starts to have his girl cooking his meals for him. Babe, your lunch be so good. Your food be so good. I'll be taking it to lunch. People be hating on me. So now his wife is feeling good, or his girl is feeling good. She starts preparing his lunch more often because he positively reinforced her making his food because she know he likes it because they're equally yoked. But he started taking his food and giving half of it away to the new chick because she thinks he's making it. So what happens is now she becomes addicted or interested, or she's transitioning from her life to intertwining with his life through his girl's food. Right? You see what's happening? And what happens is the new girl asked him, well, can you come over my house and cook me something to eat in a joking manner? And he said, sure, because all he want to do is, you know what? So what happens is he starts to transition from giving all his energy and effort and appreciation to his girl to the new female. Next thing you know, he's making her food, he's kissing and hugging her, and they wind up having sex. I'm not going through that process again because I've already explained it. Now they have a bond. So now he's trying to continue to keep his facade going with his girl. He could even love his girl. You know, a question a lot of women ask me. A lot of women ask me this. How can a man who say he loves his girl or his wife cheat with a girl he don't even know or care about? That's a very, very, very complex question, and that's for another video. But now, in the realm in which we speaking, we're going to stay focused. So what happens is now they're having sex on a continuous basis, and they build a bond. He never commits to her, but he leads her on. At the same time, leading his girl that he lived with on. And what happens is one day his girl, being interconnected with him on the molecular level, on the psychic level, on the DNA level, because your energies is going to mix. What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? Have you ever noticed when you sleeping next to your girl or your dude and they get up and go to the bathroom, you could be in a deep sleep, but you feel they gone and you wake up like, oh, that's because y'all connected outside of the physical. So she's starting to get an itch on the back of her neck and her spider sense is tingling, and she shows up to work, quote unquote, really on her hunch, but she's masking it with a nice gesture of, honey, I brought you some lunch today on surprise. And old girl right there with him. Now he's stuck. He explains that, yeah, this is the people I work with, blah, blah, blah. But when he said, this is my girl, the new girl's like, oh, really? This is where the transition takes place. This is where the transitions takes place. So what happens is, long story short, his girl sees her and instantaneously knows this is the, I'm a cuss, this is the bitch that I've been feeling and seeing in my dreams. Right, women? He, dummy, women know, nigga, excuse me, women know. So if you gonna cheat, just stay single. Just, if you like having sex with multiple partners, stay single. Be honest to the women. Women that hate it, but they respect it. If you tell them I don't want to be in a relationship, I want to stay single, they respect it. Everybody fall in line. There's no extra expectations. But Kat, don't be mad when you see her with another dude. Don't be mad. She's trying to get married. You're playing. Now, that being said, what happens is, long story short, their relationship now transitions into turmoil. Because she finds out when he comes home that he's been cheating. The new girl, some type of way, called his regular girl, because while they was having sex and he passed out at her house, she went in his phone. And she wrote all the female numbers down. Right? She posted a picture of them. She took a picture of them together and she posted on one of these social media blogs or whatnot. And tags his current girl. Now the transition happened. Stuff going up, you know, in an array of, uproar. Everything is in an uproar. Relationship messed up. Situation is screwed up. If the couple was together and had kids, now the family structure is messed up. And now it's transition. Do you fix this relationship? You can't go back to old girl because she see you a dog. She don't really want you. And if she do, I can't even knock her if she trying to get a husband because it's scarce out here. I get it. I understand. Whoever got the best game, but you should leave married men and women alone. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of taboo. But whatever. But now the transition happens. Now the process happens. Let's read the last part about that definition. I'm going to just read it again. The process or period of changing. As you can see, there's a change happening right now with this situation. A change is happening. From one state, which they had bliss in their relationship, or condition which was good to another. Now it's bad. So, why am I bringing this up? Why am I telling you about transitions? In life, there are transitions. Some are self-inflicted. But what you need to do is this. This is the point of this video. You need to recognize in your personal life when you're personally going through transitions of growth, when you're going through transitions of liking somebody and not liking somebody, when you're going through transitions from being uneducated to educated, you're going to have to shed some things because you're changing or transforming. Optimus Prime, right? You're transitioning from a car or a truck to a robot. You're transitioning from one thing to another. So you need to recognize when you're making the transition, what is the purpose? It's for the greater good. Me being from the hood, being from the streets, I transitioned from the stuff that I used to do, from the mindset that I used to have, to the mindset that I need to have now as an adult with people that depend on me. If I keep doing the street stuff, I ain't transition. And I get outdated. And the people that have transitioned have grown past me, and I'm going to stay stuck. In life, you need to transition. You have to transition or you're going to get left behind. I do have a 90s mind state, but I'm right now in 2020. You see what I'm saying? I escape to the 90s when I want to go relax, throw on my old music, listen and reminisce on stuff in my brain, even talk to some of my old friends. But I'm living right now in 2020. You got to transition. You got to transition to a relationship. You got to transition as a parent. You don't, if you in your 30s, you don't parent like you do when you was 18. You get some information to understand what it's like to parent at this age and what needs to be done. Your kids are not babies no more. You're not changing diapers and patting them on the butt. You got to give them some real live advice that could help them, because the advice that you don't give them could cost them their life. You have to transition into a good parent, whether you like it or not, or your kids gonna suffer. And if they suffer, when they had kids, their grandkids gonna suffer. So basically, your lineage or your future generations is gonna suffer because you was too lazy to transition. And I'm talking to the guys, all y'all street guys. I'm not knocking the streets. I'm not downgrading the streets. I used to love the streets. But there comes a point where you have to transition. Whether you get locked up for 30 years, while you locked up, you're going to transition because you're getting older. But why wait to get locked up? Do it while you out. Transition. Start a business. Get a gig. Be a husband. At some point, why do you want to keep banging a whole bunch of women? Like, really, what's the point? I understand the variety. Don't get me wrong when you're younger. But as you get older, it becomes shallow. And I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm just saying, what are you really building? What kind of experiences are you building? What type of lasting memories are you leaving behind? Now, if you're whining and dining women and giving them a good experience and giving them the check to pay some bills, that's life-changing. That's positive for you and for them, because you're giving, which the universe going to pay you back. Also, you're helping them, which they're going to show gratitude or look at you like a lick. Now I'm about to end. In life, we have to transition. We're born and we die. But in between, you have to make choices and you should grow. You should become positive in your transitions. Transitions can become negative, but you can make them into positives. You have to understand, negative situations can turn out to positive. It's all up in here. It's all how strong you're going to be and what information are you going to go get to help with your transition. Women, transition from a little girl to a grown woman, to a mother, to a grandmother, to a great-grandmother. Men, transition from a little boy to a cat in the street doing wrong or just getting a job or whatever, into becoming a grown man, getting educated in whatever facet you would like, whether it's specialized knowledge, college, or just job. But transition into something to where you could be proud of yourself, also where you could teach future generations, especially part of your lineage, that could do something positive. For all those people that want to work out, there's a process. Whether you fat trying to get skinny or skinny trying to gain some weight, there's a transition period. There is going to be pain. There's going to be pain. You're going to wake up sore from workouts. You're going to wake up sore from the running. You're going to be mad because you can't eat what you want to eat. There's going to be a transition. The key is make it through to get, here's the most important part, to get to where you want to be. When you transition, you really need a vision of what you want to transition into. You want to transition to what you want to become. What type of relationship do you want? What type of financial status do you want? What type of family do you want? What type of house do you want, or apartment, or whatever? Where do you want to live? You want to be on the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest? You have to have a vision. In the Bible, in your Bible, it says, a man shall perish with lack of a vision. If he doesn't have a vision, he's going to perish. So you need a vision of what you want to transition into, or you're going to be transitioning something that you don't know what is, especially your relationship, and it's going to go bonkers. If the person that's supposed to be equally yoked at you ain't pulling their weight, you got to get rid of them. It's just what it is. Or your transition going to suck. Now, they could come back around when they back on the same page, but if they not, keep it pushing. That being said, transition. It's a process that has to happen in order for things to change. We're all going to change. We're all in this life. While you're still alive, transition things into your favor. Okay? That being said, however you do it, remain positive. Know that negative things are going to come, negative haters, negative situations in life. Life just happens. You have to push through, or you're going to transition into what life wants you to be versus what you want to be. That's why you have to have a vision. That being said, peace. Oh, I forgot one thing. When we talk about the cake, you put eggs, grease, or cooking oil, the cake mix, you need a bowl, you need water, and if you just put that in there like that, that's not going to make a cake. You got to stir it up, pop, 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 or blend it. Either or, you got to blend it or stir it up. Once it's a certain consistency, you grease the pan. You got to grease the pan or it's going to be sticky. Put the cake in the pan, put it in the oven for 400, 35, 40 minutes, sometimes 60. Pull it out. How do you check to make sure the transition is complete? You take a spoon, a fork or something, you stick a stick in there, pull it out. If you don't get nothing liquidy, the transition is complete. You can now eat your cake or even put icing on it. So, that being said, enjoy your transition cake. Enjoy this information that I gave you. And understand, if you skip parts of the transition of making a cake, even if you got the right ingredients, it's not going to come out right. So just understand, each transition has its own process that you have to go through for you to become great at it. That being said, that's all I got. Till next time.
Run, two, come, let's go. I said, run.